Extinction isn't playing God. It's about securing the future. A warm greeting to the panel of judges, my fellow competitors, esteemed audience, and my friends. Today I stand here strongly for the motion on why genetic cutting technology should pursue the extinction. Firstly, let's get this off. Extinction isn't just because of natural causes. Extinction is the cause of human activities. What human activities do we have? Activities like hunting and poaching, deforestation, habitat destruction, etc. Now, if humans have the technology and innovation to destroy a whole bunch of species, their habitats, then we should also use our technology and innovation to restore the species, to restore the wildlife, and to restore the biodiversity. Now, extinction technology has major significance in science and ecology. For example, the woolly mammoth, which is now extinct obviously, had great value for the Arctic grasslands. Just imagine how the climate change is affecting the Arctic, global warming, melting glaciers. The Arctic is almost extinct. Not just the species, the Arctic is extinct. If we restore the woolly mammoth with gene cutting technology, we can restore the biodiversity and the animal itself. Restoring such animals can also help us secure for the future. If we made a mistake on the past, we should focus on securing our future instead of actually just crying over our past. Resurrecting the past can secure our future. We can learn from our mistakes. We can ensure the future of other animals, other species, other habitats, and other biodiversity. Some may argue that it has a lot of ethical and social problems, but a few years back, even in vitro fertilization, crossbreeding was very controversial among people. But as you see now, it's widely used. The milk that you eat, the meat that you eat, all come from crossbreeding, in vitro fertilization, which is also related to gene editing technology, not quite though. But if they can be accepted in society in such a short period of time, then we can accept gene editing technology. With that, I'd like to conclude my speech. Thank you.
Good morning to the respected judges, my fellow debaters, and my dear friends. Today I want to share my stand against the motion that cutting-edge genetic science should be used to pursue the restoration of extinct species. Firstly, reintroducing organisms that have already been extinct sounds very irrelevant. The habitat they lived on and the habitat we lived on is completely different. They may not be able to adapt to the environment we live on, the climate we live on, the vegetation we do, and the various forms of activities we do in the daily life in the present. For example, you have an old iPhone. We want to upgrade to a new iPhone rather than being stuck on the same iPhone with the new technological advancements. Why would we be stuck on the same path rather than being developed, having more having forms of parts that can help you develop? There may be a reason why they're extinct. For example, my fellow debater said that the great mammoth helped the environment, and so what? But they may have several dangerous parts of them as well. They may be able to harm the community we live on today. The funding process would also be irrelevant. The countries would have to spend billions of dollars. They can rather spend on technological advancements or AI in the current. And we should focus on conserving the animals we have today rather than restoring the extinct animals. We should be, if we restore the animals, we may have the mindset that any animals that go extinct will be okay and we can restore them easily, but we should be able to conserve them. We should be able to conserve the animals that are endangered in the present. And what about the sufferation that they may have to face during the time of the experiments? The animals would have to go through a lot of harm and trouble. So we should not focus on that. We should focus on the present, and we should focus on conserving the animals that are living in the present. With that, I will conclude my speech. Thank you.
Good morning, respected teachers, honorable guests, my dear friends, and fellow opponents. Today I am standing for a motion on why cutting gene science technology should be used to restore the extinct species. So first of all, extinction is not always natural. It has been caused due to human art. Many species have gone extinct not because nature failed, but because we failed. Many species have gone extinct due to pollution, hunting, destruction of natural habitats. If we don't use our ability to use cutting gene technology to restore the extinct species, then we are basically ignoring our responsibility. Secondly, de-extinction can also help restoring environmental balance, as many species play crucial roles in the balance of the environment. First of all, many grazing animals help balancing the grasslands. Lost birds and animals also help in pest control and maintaining an ecosystem. So we should use cutting science, gene technology to restore biodiversity and maintain a clean world. Thank you.
We should preserve the living, not resurrect the lost. Good morning to the respected panel of jury, my fellow debaters, my friends and peers which I have known for many years, my teachers, and every other spectator that's here. Today, I am going to be going with the motion on why cutting-edge genetic technology should not bring back extinct species. So let's first question the morality and ethicality of bringing back these species. Is it really moral to grow animals in a lab? Is it really moral to use them as a lab rat? It is not moral. It is a very moral work. In fact, as one of my filmmakers said, it imposes human responsibilities, but those responsibilities are not going to be fulfilled by humans. Bringing back the environments that those animals lived in, bringing back those ecosystems is going to be undoable. So that's one of the reasons why cutting science should never follow bringing back extinct species. Secondly, these extinct species will cause the destruction of the environment. Let's think. Let's say we bring back wild mammals. Will bringing back Arctic grasslands help the Arctic ecosystems currently, or will it destroy it? It will destroy it. All the penguins that live there, all the predators cannot survive in that grassland, cannot survive in warmer temperatures. And that's the reason why genetic technology should not bring back the extinct species. Also, I heard people say that it should be used as a tool to fix human mistakes. But fixing human mistakes, fixing mistakes that cannot be undone normally is a bad idea. Now, how do we bring back these environments for all these animals to live? How will we do that? Now, fixing human mistakes will cause even more of them because of the environment destruction and more species going extinct that we don't know how to bring back. Also, the animals which have gone extinct for a reason. The human activities are not the sole purpose why. It's due to competition and natural predation. And those natural things mean that those animals went extinct because they could not compete with the others. So bringing them back will only result in them going extinct all over again. Thank you.
Good morning and warm regards to honorable judges, respected opponents, and the very dear audience. I am Sanashika Thakur, here to speak on the motion that using scientific technologies for the extinction of species does not imbalance ecosystems. First and foremost, I would like to rebuttal a point said by my fellow opponent. My opponent stated that if you can buy a new iPhone, you don't necessarily go fixing the old one, but iPhones release every other year. You can't keep buying iPhones every other year, and iPhones and species are completely different. Species, they take years to grow, develop into full-grown adults, and they balance the ecosystem. An iPhone, you can just replace it every other year and act like the old one never existed. Living things and non-living things are two different things. And my opponent also stated that the funds used for gene editing technology should be used for AI development so that it does not affect the nature. Let me burst your bubble. One ChatGPT prompt uses gallons of water. That is also harming the nature. But the double standards, of course. And the argument on moral values. Morals are different. What is correct for you might be wrong for me, and what is wrong for me might be correct for you. That is why legal provisions exist, because the law is safe, moral values and moral responsibilities are not. Also, most of the species go extinct due to human actions, human greed and human carelessness. So if we have the responsibility and the opportunity to bring back those species and correct our mistakes, should we not correct our mistakes? Isn't that the biggest moral lesson we've ever learned? That we should always correct your mistake if given the chance? Also, in today's world where science and technology is at its peak, gene editing technologies like CRISPR have been doing amazing in their field. The species that are restored are calculated, carefully crafted and monitored even after release. Let me give you an example. Wolves were introduced into the Yellowstone National Park, and everybody thought this would create havoc, this would create chaos, but it didn't. Instead, rivers were stabilized, the forest was balanced, and the Earth's population was also balanced. So everybody expected that to create chaos, but it didn't, because it was carefully crafted and it was monitored continuously. Also, whenever somebody is releasing a restored species, we're not just releasing any species we find cute. Oh, that animal's cute, let's release it. No, we're thinking of the impact it has on the ecosystem. Also, in today's world, where global warming is on rise and climate change happens significantly, we're losing a lot of rare species very easily. So this just helps us prevent them. Saving an almost extinct species is not carelessness or harmful to the environment. Instead, it is justice for the species. With this, I would like to end my debate. Thank you.
Good morning to the esteemed panel of judges, respected teachers, and my fellow debaters. I am Osita Khanda, and I firmly stand against the motion that cutting-edge gene science should reintroduce the de-extinct animals. So, firstly, let me begin with an example. In 2003, a scientist successfully cloned a Pyrenean ibex. The Pyrenean ibex only lived for 7 minutes due to long defects. It could not survive in this kind of environment. So, is this actually reviving an animal, or is this just a cruel and painful scientific experiment? Now, let me begin with my first point. The extinction is very costly and it is unreliable. So, we spend a lot of amount of money in de-extinction when we cannot even save the animals that are present today. According to the global biodiversity studies, more than 1 million animals or species are in the brink of extinction. Firstly, we should shift our focus towards saving these species that are about to extinct, instead of reintroducing the ones that have already gone extinct. My second point is about the ethical responsibilities. So my question towards the opposing team is, are we trying to play God? So if we humans are the ones who have put this environment to risk, we have brought a lot of negative impacts such as climate change, overpopulation and environmental pollution, which have caused a lot of species to go extinct. So why are we trying to bring out artificial clothes instead of actually addressing the big problem over here? Now, moreover, I would like to talk about how the success rates of these kind of scientific experiments is very low. The failure rate is about 90 to 95%. So we are just creating a lot of embryos, and only a small amount of them are actually successful. So this is just a cruel, painful experiment, and it is inhuman. Now, I would also like to talk about how instead of doing these experiments, there are a lot of better alternatives that we should try to focus on. If we try to bring a de-extinct animal, it is like there's a burning house in front of us. So instead of addressing this problem of the burning house, we are actually going back to rebuild a house that has already been destructed 500 years ago. This is not what we do. We address the problem that is right in front of us instead of going back and looking at the past. So with this, I would like to conclude that I firmly oppose to the motion. Thank you.
To answer my fellow opposition's questions, we aren't playing God, we're securing their future. Thank you.
Firstly, I would like to come to the point what my educator said. She said that it is fixing mistakes is the biggest moral lesson. But it does never, we have never fixed the underlying problems there. We have not fixed the environment damage. We are only simply bringing back the species. Also, another thing about global warming that they say, this encourages a dangerous mindset, which is that we can simply bring back all animals. Now, if we can simply bring back all extinct animals, then what's the point of preserving our biodiversity? Then what's the point of preserving all animals? That type of mentality gets encouraged due to this de-extinction of the revival of these types of animals. And because of this, a lot of countries will stop putting their efforts towards this global warming prevention, which will only cause environmental pollution to increase, not decrease it. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to counter an argument said by my fellow debater on her speech. She said that in 2019, when an animal was when scientists tried to restore an animal and it didn't last long, I'd like to remind you that since 2019, it's been almost 6 years, and the advancement in science and technology has been crazy. In 2019, we didn't even know what artificial intelligence was, and today everybody has ChatGPT and DeepSeek on their phones. So the advancement has grown rapidly. And secondly, my opponent also tried to say that we should focus on conserving biodiversity and our ecosystem instead of trying to bring back and restore organisms. But that is exactly what we are doing by restoring organisms. I don't know what part of that is confusing. We bring back organisms which can naturally restore biodiversity and balance the ecosystem. We're not trying to encourage a mindset, we simply bring back extinct species, because that is not as easy as it is said. It requires a lot of technology and a lot of efforts, but that helps us preserve our current ecosystem. I also said it in my speech that when wolves were reintroduced to a park, it just helped balance the ecosystem and not the other way around.
Whoa! Whoa!
proper ecosystem management. When the rules were introduced into the planet, was the planet ecosystem already managed? Yes, because there were no rules in the first place. As well as another point here, how are they going to actually bring back the ecosystem if they don't even have the ecosystem that they live in normally? How are they going to even survive in these types of ecosystem? They won't survive in these types of ecosystem that we have currently. Now that is what I like about tax.
Again, what were part of my rebuttal was confusing. I clearly said because wolves weren't there in the forest ecosystem was imbalanced and the restored growth helped balance the ecosystem. We're actually trying to balance the ecosystem by restoring extinct animals. I would like trying to support me, I am Jan, it's your time to make
said, saving the already extinct species only romanticizes the past. But actually saving the endangered species that we have today will actually address the real problem over here. Thank you.
This is the third time I'm clarifying myself. I hope this is the final time. I'm not romanticizing your past and nor are the scientists. We're just using the development and advancements in science and technology to preserve our current biodiversity so that more species don't have to go extinct and we don't have to face more problems like global warming and climate changes, which also affects human lives. Yeah, I hope it's clear this time.